Oh, yeah. It's podcast time. Spent most of the day Thursday down at City Counting, and there I got stories to tell. Almost an Agreement at gmail.com. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. We're on YouTube. Go to the website, almostagreement.com, and check out what's going on there. Are you prepared for the Snowmageddon? We'll see how it goes. I'm not really, Anyway, almost an Agreement at gmail.com. Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, whatever your favorite podcast, whatever, and all those things. Help us out. Tell your friends about us. My third mayoral candidate has finally at least touched base on the conversation of potentially coming to my debate, and so the debate is on April 14th, everybody. Details to follow, official announcements, press releases, and all that stuff will go out maybe over the weekend when I'm stuck in the house doing nothing because it's a foot of ice. Anyway, I'm screaming. Here we go, people. Hey, buddy.
Hey.
How you do?
Hi, B.
He be, everybody. You heard it here first. Actually, really nothing exciting. I was basically just paying a bunch of random taxes, wandered around the City County building. Went to the permit office for Knox County and cleaned up an issue I was having with my building permit, and stopped by and said hi to Will in the City Council Secretary's office, or whatever that job title is. Then went into the old courthouse. Said hi to my friend Chris Davis. He tried to hand me 4 different petitions for all the races I've joked about saying I'm going to run for around here.
Really? You keep telling me to go pick them up. He handed them right to you.
I know he could have, but
Did you take any of them?
He said Sam hasn't been by to pick him up yet, so I didn't know if you wanted him or not. And I was like, no, that's Sam's job. And we waxed philosophical on a few things, and then I wandered down the gay street a little bit, and then hopped out of town.
Hopped out of town?
Well, out of downtown. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I don't mind. Like I don't know. I don't mind hanging out and walking around, running into people. It's kind of fun. Biggs was in the was walking through the customer facing side of that office of the county tax office, and said hi to me. Said, "Hey, Seth." I was like, "Hey, Justin."
You can still get in without your real ID.
I can still get in. It's not a federal building, so
That's true.
for now, I mean, we'll see what the state does here in the next a couple of weeks on this cycle. Because I mean, that's the thing to me. So more details on the bits and bobs of this American immigration program, or whatever they're calling it. They've got some stupid title for it. Immigration something 26 is what they're calling this raft of bills as a unit. And as you break it down, like again, like I think for most of them on an individual basis, like if you take the context of why this is happening out, most of them on their own, like from their own general language, kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, the schools one doesn't, insofar as there is precedent that it is the Supreme Court of the United States opinion that any kid of school age is allowed to go to public schools. Now, that one in particular the state's putting up is they intend to get the lawsuit rolling on because they think they can get that up to the Supreme Court and get that precedent changed. But I mean, like, I don't know. And so it's like you got this whole different raft of stuff, like DMV is going to make sure whatever before they give you your vehicle registration, which is kind of funny because the Sexton quote was basically, we're not going to spend any tax dollars on illegal people unless it's for jail. And he's also practicing if one of these in particulars passes, they're also not going to be collecting any tax money from illegals because one of them is very specific about vehicle registration. Like you can't get your tags renewed if you're not a legal resident.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like, okay, so we're not only not going to spend money on them, we're not going to take money from them either. I just thought it was kind of funny.
Yeah.
But
I'm trying to think if I've heard of any other instances where, state legislatures have been like, hey, we're working with, the current administration directly.
Oh, I'm sure it's
on
happened. Certain
legislation.
I'm sure it's happened before.
Yeah.
I don't know it for a fact, but I'd be surprised if it didn't.
Yeah.
Especially when you get, this isn't necessarily a new thing where you get kind of these activist sets of legislatures playing games. And I would bet that maybe trying to think of some other, maybe. Maybe the Obama administration had worked with some states to get some law on the books there that got the gay marriage, whichever the gay marriage civil or whatever case that was, that went to the Supreme Court. That
Bergerfeld, I think.
So I wouldn't be surprised if the Obama administration had worked with them because they'd, maybe not the Obama administration as specifically as the state of Tennessee is working with the Trump administration right now, but at least the greater Democratic Party movement machine did use the opportunity with Obama in the White House and who did Obama put in
I think it goes back to like maybe Clinton, because I want to say California. It's like one of the first states.
Right.
And I think that was in the 90s, maybe
so,
early
again,
aughts.
But you get what I'm saying, though, is that like the greater apparatus is like, okay, well, we've got the Supreme Court in play now because Obama or Clinton or whoever had, appointed a new justice, so the weight of the court has shifted to the left a little bit. Let's get this thing going.
Possibly.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it was directly inside the White House like we're doing right now. But I certainly would argue that it's been a party maneuver that's been done a million times over.
Yeah.
And we just don't pay attention to it because we don't know about it because it's not our state, and it's more obvious to us because it's right here in front of us. And I don't know, you and I hadn't paid attention to any of this shit since about 4 or 5 years ago.
True.
So to say that it hadn't happened before is probably a misnomer. And so, but like I said, like a lot of it, like on the face, it's like, okay, each of these individually, it's like they kind of make sense. I mean, they really do. Like, I don't know. I say that, and then the first one that comes to mind is the driver's license one. Because the driver's license one's not technically aimed at illegals. This one's actually aimed at people with, because you'd have to have the documentation to get the driver's license anyway. So you have to have some residency status to get a driver's license from Tennessee. That law's been in the books for a couple of years. It's the 1 year, restricted license.
Oh,
yeah, like you can take the test in whatever language you want, and you can get a restricted license for a year. And then after that year, you'd have to come back and take your test again in English. And if you can't pass it in English, it doesn't explicitly say you can't get another year of restricted license, but it's kind of assumed that you can't drive legally after that.
Yeah.
Until you can pass the test in English. And it's like, okay, well, now you're actually targeting like people that have the legal right. Oh, wait a minute. It's driving. It's not a right. It's a privilege. And so for that one, I made that argument with Jesse today, and I was like, I'm of the opinion that I think driving is a right at this point. I think most people see it as a right, but when you get down to the brass tacks of it, it's a privilege, and the state has a right to restrict that privilege however they fucking feel like it, because the United States government can't come over the top and say, no, you can't do that with driver's license because it's not a
state issue.
It's a state issue that the federal government has no authority over, other than maybe some sort of like unification in information sharing, but they can't change. Like the state of Tennessee has the right to do driver's license however they feel like it. And so agree or disagree with the policy because it's rude, fine, whatever, but at least that one is within Tennessee's right to do.
I wonder where we'd have to go in Tennessee, or if even offer it, to get a international driver's license.
I don't know. Jesse was saying that when he had the worst the worst time like he had with driving overseas was in England because they drive on the left side.
Right. But
like he's like, even like I can't remember what he said. I think he said Spain. He was driving in Spain, and he made a point to kind of familiarize himself with their road sign system a little bit before he started driving. But like other than that, it's like you just drive.
Yeah, Germany wasn't too bad driving around.
Yeah, it's just like
There's a couple weird. I don't remember exactly. The red lights are a little different, to where it almost gives you like a warning right before it goes to green. I think it like blinks yellow, it goes from like red, then blinks yellow, then goes to green.
Yeah, like hey, wake up, something. I don't know. I think So anyway, we have this whole raft of bills, and like the problem I have with it, like I said, individually, it's not that big a deal, but the reality of what's going to happen here is something that I'm not comfortable with, and I don't, because when it gets right down to it, this is stuff that we've already done in state law as far as if an officer asks for your identification, even with no probable cause or anything like that. Tennessee's been trying to pass a law that obliges you to identify yourself to a police officer and can criminalize your refusal to, even if it's just like you're walking down the street and there is no probable cause, there's no interest in you.
After looking at some states do have like a failure to identify.
Right. And so they're already trying to put stuff like that in place. And then you add all this pile of stuff in here. And so it's like on the front end, this is just going after brown people. Okay, fine. I guess I'm a white guy. I don't have to worry about it. But the reality is there is no part in this when they can't they can't come after me and just say, hey, I need your paperwork.
Right.
It's like, I'm a fucking American citizen, bro. You don't need shit from me.
But you got to prove it.
You're right. You know, and like that to me should be what disgusts everybody about it. Like, you can agree with some of the parts and pieces of this. And from the DMV perspective, I don't know. You know, like I do just on it's already a shitty enough experience. And now it's going to be you didn't bring the enough right forms of identification to fucking update your driver's license or get your fucking registration and a new sticker for your tag. Yeah. You know, it's like you're going to make it more difficult for me to pay you money that I don't want to pay you in the first place. Get fucked. You know, like that's just annoying, but it's already the DMV, so it's already annoying, whatever. Yeah. To me, the reality of what's going to happen with this kind of shit is that it's going to make it where you're driving down the street, you're walking or whatever, you're driving and, you know, I don't know, you don't quite come to that full stop at a stop sign and you get pulled over. And now if the cop feels like being an asshole or he's got some quota to hit or something like that or whatever, he can just sit there and waste your fucking time. Because now not only is like, let me see your driver's license and registration, please. Well, let me see your proof of residency and let me see this. And he has every right to just fucking slow down and grind up the process and make your day even worse.
Yeah, they can't force you to give proof of residency. I think just you having your ID is...
Well, I mean, by Tennessee law, if you have a Tennessee ID, you're a U.S. citizen.
Right.
Because you can't get...
But if you had an out-of-state ID, they still... I think the systems are interlinked enough that they can look you up.
I don't know.
Because I've seen where they're like, oh, well, you've got a speeding ticket in Illinois or whatever.
But it's like, I don't know. Like, to me, this is just more stuff heading towards the police state.
Yeah.
To which more we get the argument, well, if you don't do anything wrong, you don't have to worry about it. It's like, well, I have independent thoughts. I have independent thoughts in my head, and I disagree with a lot of people on a lot of things. We've got KPD with a new set of drones now that they're going to start flying around, and their real-time crime center that isn't Big Brother, but they have officers that sit there and watch the monitors all day, but they're not tracking and paying attention to what's on them unless they have a cause to look at them.
See, a question about that. I don't know if they're going to have like drone hubs. Because I know the recent article talked about it being almost like a first responder to go to like a 911 call before
I don't know if they're just going to have them
there.
out I don't know if they're going to have like them spread out throughout the city.
How's it going to beat the cops there?
Right.
Because they don't fly, 45, 50 miles an hour.
Some cop's just going to, right, the cop's going to take the call and head that way and stop a block short and then launch his drone.
Yeah, like, let me take a look at it first.
I mean, I get, like, again, like, I can
see it in some cases.
Right, like, I could see some practical use for it, like we have, actually, I don't know.
Like a domestic violence call, it's like, well, let me look at the house first or whatever.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Because you're going to, like, I mean, unless the domestic's in the front yard, you're not going to see it with a drone either. Like, what intel are you going to get from flying up to a house that, well, there's 2 cars in the driveway. Okay, well, there's 2 people that drive in my house, and there's 3 cars in my driveway. Right. What does it tell you that there's an extra car in the driveway? There's only 1 car in the driveway. It doesn't tell you shit when you get down to it. Like, I just don't... I see the encroachment on privacy, because it's not technically an invasion of privacy, legally speaking, but the encroachment on privacy to what positive end? I don't see a lot of positive end on the drone part of it or the surveillance system at large. I think it's just we're handing over tons and tons of power and ability to what, for as far as I can tell, is a pretty decent police department we have here in Knoxville right now.
Yeah.
But what happens, we've got a new mayor coming up here. We've got a termed out mayor, and we've had very contentious races that have started to come down even to the local level. And so, what happens when we have, I don't know, like we have some, psycho right wing mayor that somehow sneaks through an election and gets in, and then fires Chief Noel and brings in a new chief that's more aggressive, for lack of a better word. And now we have an active surveillance system that's used on us all the time with people that are comfortable using it a little bit more aggressively than the current guy is. Like, it's a Pandora's box argument, I guess. It's like, if we're going to open the door to this, you got to understand how wide this door can get open and how deep down the rabbit hole we can get.
Right.
And that's where my objection is. And then it's like just general shit. It's like, okay, well, you know, I'm in my backyard. I have a privacy fence. Do I have an expectation of privacy in my backyard with a privacy fence?
To an extent.
You fly that drone up, even though you're over the street. You fly that drone up 100 feet in the air, you can see right over my house into my backyard. Do I have an expectation of privacy in that situation?
Inside your house.
I mean, exactly. That's my point. Like, so, you know, I don't know. We have a little party. Have a few friends together. Maybe one of my friends brings over some coke. A couple of people are doing coke off of my grill, and one of the neighbors calls in a noise complaint, and the drone's out here flying over my house watching some people do coke in my backyard. And I'm gonna have like a facilitating, drug charge on my property because they flew a drone over my house. It's like you have no right, like, you know.
I think I've seen people get in trouble for like, you know, not having their blinds closed. And let's say, you know, they're a nudist family and they're walking around the house nude.
Right,
because they've gotten like indecency because somebody could see in their window.
100%. Like I can 100% get behind the argument that a normal human being walking down on the public part of your street, if that normal human being can see that from walking down the street or driving in their vehicle down the street, then you have no expectation of privacy in that situation because they're physically on public property looking at private property.
Right.
But, you know, average American's, what, 5'10"? You know?
Yeah.
Because inversely, you know, like we got Duder a drone for Christmas and he flies it around a little bit. We go up to the ball fields because it's safe, so he has like shit to run into. But, you know, like if he's flying it around and ends up in somebody's backyard, and seeing something, does that person have a right to pitch a fit that my kid's spying on him? Or maybe using your example is even better. So you have not even a nudist person, but you have a person whom maybe has a large window on their bathroom that's on the back of their house, and it's well lined with trees and stuff like that, and from any of the neighbors and stuff like that, from the road or anything, you can't see into that back window. But they get out of the shower and they stand in front of their window and enjoy the beautiful view in their backyard. My kid flies his drone over their house, over their yard, and starts peeping on this chick. Does she have a right to be pissed off? I was about to say
there are like some kind of peeping Tom laws. I saw some police encounter where I think it was at like a women's shelter, and the guy was looking like through the windows. I guess he was on a sidewalk because it was in like a downtown. But I think they were able to arrest him on like peeping Tom because he was looking through the window, even though he was on kind of public sidewalk.
That sounds ridiculous, but
he was actively trying to look in there, and they're like,
again, I think it's there. I think if it's viewable from a normal person on public property, that should be the responsibility of the homeowner of the shelter.
I think he was recording as well. Maybe that was a difference.
I still don't. They shouldn't be. I wouldn't think it'd be.
I don't know if it was extenuating circumstances because it was essentially like a women's shelter for people that are trying to escape domestic violence, basically. So I don't know if it was a little bit more of a protected class.
I can empathize with the situation being shitty, but like maybe if you have a women's shelter that is to protect abused women, maybe you should close the curtains.
Right.
Because maybe it'd be a good idea to not let the public at large see anybody that's inside, not even weirdly naked or anything like that. Maybe, you know, the guy that's been beaten on her is coming around.
Yeah, that's what it was basically. It was trying to protect them.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you know, you have this lady goes into the shelter and the guy that's beaten on her finds out that she's there and he's walking down the street and sees her through the window. Certainly not going to help her mental status.
Yeah.
And whether he rages out and goes onto the private property and does something that's definitely criminal, blah, 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 blah. But it's like, maybe, I don't know, that one doesn't seem like a... I don't know. Either way, more of the story is I don't like the cameras. I don't like the cop cameras. I don't think it's a good idea. I think it's just another baby step into the depths of the rabbit hole that is not good for us. Because, again, like, you know, maybe a more poignant current point is we've got ICE coming into Knoxville. They're already here. They've already done some stuff. There's a good story. I think I texted to you just now before you got here to keep it.
Yeah, I didn't read it yet.
To keep it fresh. You know, and so I don't know. There's a group like these different protest groups we've had. They like to do stuff at the mall here, and they're intentionally trying to be seen, quote unquote, by the public because they're standing on a busy intersection, you know, with their signs yelling at traffic or whatever. But people driving by, you know, even most officers at least currently, their body cams aren't capable of it, but it's still kind of a gray area on that side too. But like, people are driving by, unless they know that person, they're not identifying. They're not like, they had one down here and Gloria was there, and I saw Gloria because she was on her scooter at the time. I was like, hey, that's Gloria Johnson. But there were 100 people in that crowd, and with the drone technology now, especially with a drone that's linked into this system that they have down at the Public Safety Center, I don't think it would be particularly difficult in any way, shape, or form to Face ID that whole group with a drone real quick and have a roster of all these people that are out there and start compiling lists and data and stuff like that I don't think the state should be doing.
Yeah.
Because then, we have ICE here in town, and it's a ICE out protest. I think they're supposed to be having one tonight, I think there was one scheduled tomorrow for Market Square, but pretty sure that's not going to go. I think they already canceled it, but we'll see how
we
the
can do it
weather
in the morning.
turns.
Tell everybody to haul ass home.
We'll see how the weather turns anyway. But and so then it's like, does KPD have an obligation or at least a gentleman's agreement that if the FBI or any other federal agency asks for something from them, they give it over?
I think they still have to have some kind of warrant for it.
I mean, ICE apparently thinks they don't have to have warrants to go into your house. So
that's what I was going to wonder if you heard that memo.
I'm gonna think that ICE at least is not going to feel like they need a warrant or something like that.
Right.
I don't know if Chief Noel has the stones to pick that fight. If he wants to pick that fight, there's already a big stink about Knox County school bus drivers' policy is to, like somebody found it in the handbook. It's like the policy for Knox County schools bus drivers is to concede to law enforcement. Like if any officer like knocks on the door and says, "Let me on the bus," the bus driver is obliged by policy to let him on the bus. Which I don't mean that seems like a reasonable policy. But now that people are freaked out about it and they're talking about like this shit that ICE is doing has been pretty aggressive and going into schools and doing some other shit.
There was a story about using like a 5-year-old up in Minnesota.
Yeah.
He gets to like lure out his family or something. Yeah.
And so it's become a little bit of a stink issue right now here locally that, that's the policy of Knox County schools bus drivers that, it's like, well, it's not the bus drivers aren't the people that we want to put in the position to be protecting our kids in that format anyway.
Right.
But again, back to the main point, it's like, is Chief Noel going to pick a fight with ICE or the FBI or Kash Patel or whoever else from the federal government wants to come down and get data and information from him and his officers? I don't know if he is or not. I've met the guy a couple times. He seems like a pretty stand-up dude, but at the end of the day, he's a career cop. That thin blue line thing's a real thing, and so I think his tendency is going to be to cooperate with other cops. Do we want to build a whole giant network system that's going to be handed over at will to a different body of cops that we don't have authority over in local government? Like KPD, at least theoretically, city council can pass ordinances on how they're allowed to do stuff and instruct them on some policy things to make sure that they're being fair to the community. I truly believe, and maybe not intentionally or not, that data is never going to be deleted. It may not be normally accessible, but it's always going to be there. So if the FBI or ICE wants to come in and pull camera footage from 10 years ago, even though the rule is they're only allowed to keep it for 90 days, they'll get it. And do we want to build a system that hands all that over to them for what? And for what is the other question too. And then going back to my first point, what's the trade-off here for us regular people, and why we should maybe think twice before we hand these things over is whether the lens turns around and comes on you directly or not, you are going to suffer consequence for this. You and I are going to have more hassles in our life. I wouldn't be surprised if there's some new banking regulation shit that comes down where we have to prove our citizenship before we're allowed to get bank accounts, if we don't already have to do that already.
Wouldn't think so.
I mean, there was a law a couple years ago that got passed that you had to, you basically had to submit a background check. So any business account that was under the business's name had to have basically a full background check on a responsible individual of that business. So basically, some sort of shareholder or something like that had to have it, and that went on file with Federal Homeland Security. So the four business bank accounts that I am a named person on, Homeland Security has a file on me and that bank account. So that if at any point Homeland Security or Department of Treasury or anybody is looking into financial crimes that I might be using with my bank account,
Right.
they have there's a full immediate identifier to a responsible party, whether I did any of the actions or not. But it has to be, like, that was a thing like we had to do to keep our business accounts open. And so again, like at what point, like, you know, they're already doing this in some places that most people don't have to see or don't interact with because they're not business owners or they're not, Hispanic looking or whatever. But I don't see that this is where we stop and say, okay, we got everything we need. We can stop doing this now. What's coming next year? What's coming the year after that? And I don't see where it'll stop. And the question I have for all of you out there in the public who these things won't currently directly affect, do you think it's going to stop here? Actually, it will affect you, full stop. These things will affect you personally. You're going to have to go and prove your citizenship to get your car registered, updated. You're going to have to, when you engage with any state or local office, especially if there's any benefit that you're receiving from it, because that's kind of the language they're using on it. And so having a registered vehicle is a benefit, so you have to prove citizenship. Having a business license is a benefit. You have to prove citizenship. I mean, like, the list goes on and on and on. And because that's what government is supposed to do, is to provide benefits to us, the citizens. So anything the government does for you, you have to provide citizenship proof for.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't really want to live in a world of papers, please. I don't think that's the American way, where that just becomes normal. Like I was joking in the intro. Went down to City County, spent a couple hours down there, and you made the joke about not having a real ID. Well, I don't have one, but why not? Why won't that be the next thing? Because all the services provided in there are a benefit to me as a citizen. And they want to make sure they're not giving any benefits to non-citizens. So don't give me access to the building, because then I can't access all the offices in the building. Yeah. And do I want to go, is that the world that we want to live in, where you have to do papers, please, all the time in all these different things? And again, it may not start with personal bank accounts, but it'll get there. Like, why wouldn't it get there? They're going to make it criminal. They'll put some sort of framework in place on the banks that says if you are a banking institution that's holding accounts for non-citizens, you'll lose your FDIC credentials and access to the Fed. And if you don't have access to the Fed as a bank, you're done anyway.
Can state legislatures make banking laws? I would think that'd be more of a federal
That's more
thing.
federal stuff, I think. But I think there is some state stuff that's in it, too. Maybe I shouldn't have said that thought out loud, because now the Trump administration is going to do it. Because they're definitely listening to us. Trump called me the other day and was like, I didn't like the way you were talking about me on the podcast last week. Trump did not call me. That was satire at best.
Is that a joke?
He was off at Davos. Apparently, I'm so confused. So, if I'm understanding what happened correctly, the Trump's method is to take a thing we have, make it a problem, and then celebrate the win for negotiating the deal to get what we had already. That's what we did with Venezuela, and that's now what we did with Greenland. Everything that we got in this new deal with Greenland was shit we already had. Or some very close version of it. But we pissed off the entire EU.
Yeah, but it sounds like a win, though.
Right, it does sound like a win. It does sound like a win if you don't know that all of the things that we got were things we already had deals with Denmark to be able to do at Greenland anyway.
Right.
So, way to go, buddy. I mean, I don't know,
And for people that are uninformed, I mean,
yeah,
like you said, if they didn't know kind of like the original,
and there's part of me that's just like, I don't really want to piss off the Europe in general. I don't want to make enemies out of the Europeans, but I certainly don't fucking care about our NATO. I don't mind blowing NATO up personally.
Right.
I don't necessarily feel like the way to blow the best way to get to this U.S. out of NATO. If NATO wants to continue to exist without us, that's up to them, whatever. But our exit from NATO, I would prefer not to do it while burning any relationship we have with any NATO member countries in the process.
Right.
It's already going to upset people enough just to be like, hey, you know what? This isn't really working for us anymore. We need to either renegotiate the deal we have here or we're going to bounce. Because the more I've learned about NATO over the last couple of years is essentially the deal is our military for the use of our dollar in international funding.
To an extent, yeah.
You know, and which does have profound the use of the dollar as the international reserve currency does have profound economic benefits to us.
Right.
However, to us as a nation, to me and you as an individual, that's a different argument altogether. Because one of the problems with that is that since we do have a central bank in the Fed's objective is no longer to take care of me and you, it's to take care of the total value of the dollar across the world. And so Fed decisions become more about global economic decisions than U.S. economic decisions. The Fed manipulating the volume of currency on the market or the interest rates can be used as a functional tool in economic fights with other countries. But when other countries are using the dollar and you need to make sure that the dollar stays viable for you, you can't burn the dollar because you can't burn the dollar to hurt them. If burning the dollar hurts you too.
Right.
And so it's put us in it's not the long and short of it is that like there was a time where it made sense post World War II and stuff like where this was where it was a good thing. It's allowed the U.S. to take on more debt than it should have been able to do. There's a bunch of positives in the greater economic game, but at some point the wheels have fallen off this thing and it needs to be reset up. Like we can't afford to keep doing this, and even our ability to function with the dollar being the world reserve currency is starting to dwindle. So we can't keep our end of the bargain. Their end of the bargain isn't actually helping us as much as it used to be anymore anyway. So we need to figure out a way to move on in this new world order. But I would rather not do it while burning the whole relationship with everybody. It just doesn't seem like the logical way to go about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's intertwined. I mean, we have a lot of U.S. companies that have, offices, have foreign offices or foreign investments of countries that have invested money here in America, moving their company or opening up an office, et cetera, or even, just trade deals and whatnot.
Right. Well, it's like, the world trade language is English too. Like that is byproduct of, NATO is or English and the dollar as world economic standards is a byproduct of NATO. And it is good for us on some level. And you're right, and the shrinking and like the destruction of it, and a post NATO world is going to be very bad for us for a while, especially because we have no internal manufacturing base. Our need for outsourcing of products and goods will make a transition into a post NATO world very, very, very difficult for you.
Even
and
the
me.
things we do make, we start pissing everybody off. You're gonna be like, I don't want to buy your stuff,
right? But we are maybe making fusion power here right in town.
Did see that.
It's pretty exciting.
I think at Bull Run was where they're going to...
Yeah, they're going to build a prototype fusion reactor plant on the old Bull Run site, which I don't get it. I don't quite understand it. Apparently, there's plasma involved, and it takes a whole lot of heat to get fusion to start.
Yeah, I still thought we hadn't really figured out fusion yet.
Yeah, so it's something about plasma. So apparently obviously Oak Ridge is known for what Oak Ridge is known for, but apparently a big chunk of it, the reason that they're doing it here is because of the UT's material science department. And so it's the vessels and the tools and stuff that have to work this machine that can handle the extreme heats, like 30 million degrees Fahrenheit, I think is what they said.
That's hot.
Yeah. To get, because fusion happens on the sun because of the immense gravity of the giant ball that is the sun, and that's how the sun can create fusion. Mm-hmm. And there's no way to fake the gravity of that level, and so the only way to get close to it is with extreme heat, apparently. And so some sort of tools and machines that can create this ridiculous amount of heat where they add, I guess, hydrogen to it that doesn't burn, it fuses with hydrogen to make helium, I guess. Hydrogen turns into helium.
Not sure. They're separate elements.
Yeah,
but converting to
right.
once some kind of
whatever
reaction
you're
happens.
fusing, whatever. I don't know. See, I don't understand the science. Obviously, you're welcome, everybody. Physics by Seth is not a good thing. You should never take to. Moral of the story is it's got to be stupid hot,
right?
And that's how they think they can do it. And then the question is, how much energy did it take to make the heat required to start the fusion, and does the fusion process create more energy than the heat required to make it?
Right.
And we'll find out here, or we'll burn in fiery. I mean, we're literally going to create a new sun, a very small one, but there will be a new sun at Bull Run. And they're talking about within, like, the decade.
Yeah, I think I did say
Talking
that.
about getting the building up and start testing in, like, the late 2020s or early 2030s. Which is awesome, I think. I mean, I'm a little scared. I'm a little scared of a sun. Of right. Creating a sun and just having it over there hanging out at Bull Run.
A literal meltdown.
Right. Like literally a
Not
sun.
like a nuclear meltdown where shit was hot. Like literally 3 million degrees melting shit down.
Yes.
Setting all the coal dust on fire.
Yeah.
It's still there. So
we'll see how that goes in the grand scheme of things. But I don't know. It's kind of, I mean, it's neat. It's cool. Like, you know, that's...
If we can make it work.
I mean, because like that is my number 1A solution to our economy. If you want to make our economy livable and functional, and you want to make life better for Americans, make energy dumb cheap. Sorry, I almost said dumb expensive. Yeah. Like stupid cheap. Like pennies. Like I have like a 7. I think my bill was like $6.50 this month, and we did not have a particularly cold December, early January.
Right.
There was an additional amount of money on there for my construction project, but in just general usage, because we only have electric and water, we don't have
gas.
I don't have gas here. But like, yeah, $6.50, $6.25 this month. I didn't see what the rate changed because the rates have been going up too.
Yeah. Our
usage isn't like, it's a little bit higher than it was in November, and a little bit higher than our usage last year. I'm going to have to say that's the 17 computers we have running in this house all the time. It's part of it. Which should produce enough heat to warm the house, damn it.
Should. I think a lot of states have seen utility bills going up at least 20%.
Yeah.
I think that's been on the low end for some places.
Yeah. And I mean, like my insurance, I've got a whole big insurance thing I got to go through. I've already stated to all the staff that our insurance is going up anywhere between like, depending on which plan you have, like 3 to 16%, which is pretty low considering everything else is going on. But yeah, if you want to make the world a better place, figure out how to make stupid cheap energy. That would solve a lot of problems. I mean, wouldn't solve a lot of problems, but it would solve a lot of problems. It would solve a ton of problems.
We want to keep putting data centers everywhere.
Yeah, that too. Right, if we want the AI monster to take over, you've got to have the power for him.
Yeah.
But I was like, you know, because like, okay, so if we, especially in like a fusion or nuclear or any of the green energy sources that people are leaning towards, you know, it'll all be electric, which will accelerate the move to more people buying electric cars. You know, and you get to the place where, I mean, that's one of the things that fucking sucks about our trade war stuff, because China apparently is kicking out some cool, cheap electric cars.
Yeah.
Like, I would love an American company to be kicking out a sub $15,000, very basic, very simple, no bells and whistles, electric car.
It's an article about Mitsubishi. I meant to look and see if it's actually going to be available in the U.S., but they had come out with a K truck. And I think they even mentioned that Trump was kind of pushing for trying to get some kind of like, you know, have you heard the term K car? Mm-hmm. It's like their little mini cars. They were pushing to get some of those in the U.S. There was like a small little K car pickup.
Yeah, love them. Love it. Like, I mean,
but I think it was, I want to say like a decked out version was like $14,000.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like I've gone down this rabbit hole. I've got it in my head. I want to get a new truck. I was shopping trucks yesterday. Not really seriously shopping, but I was looking through them. It's like a fucking F-150 basic. Like basic. A basic Ford F-150 pickup truck. Standard cab, which I didn't even know they made anymore. So no back seats at all. Like just straight standard cab. As basic as they get. V6, I think is what the V6 About 14,000 pounds in towing capacity, because that's kind of one of the things I'm keeping an eye on. I want a little bit better. I want some towing capacity for the 3 times a year I ever tow anything.
Mm-hmm.
But, it's like basic. It's like 42 grand.
Yeah.
43 grand, something like that. And then I got the Toyota Tundra. It's like 37 grand.
I thought Tundra,
and it was a much nicer version.
Right.
No, I'm sorry. It was like 47 grand. Sorry, but it was a crew cab and it had some stuff to it. But it's like, I don't understand why it's that expensive. Period. Let alone why the American version is super cheap and super basic and still almost as expensive as like a better trim version of the Tundra. Not the base trim, but like a medium trim version of the Tundra. I mean, the Tundra's made in Texas or Georgia. Anyway, I guess the F-150 is probably half Mexican, half American now.
I'm not sure where all their plants are.
But anyway, there's just like it doesn't make sense to me how expensive this shit is anyway. And so it's like, well, we suck at making stuff. We're super dependent on players all around the world, and they're making cool, cheap stuff, but you won't let them send it here because our guys can't compete with it. Right. That's my problem with it. It's like, what incentive does Ford or GMC or Chevy or any of those guys have to make a good economy electric vehicle? I mean, fucking Ford makes one car.
Yeah, they stopped making the F-150 that was like the electric version of it.
Oh, did they? The F-150 Lightning?
Yeah.
Kind of like that one. I was interested in it. One of the school parents has one, and it doesn't quite make the Jetsons car noise, but it's pretty close.
Yeah, I want to say they stopped making that, or announced they were going to stop making it, because I think they were losing money on it.
Well, they were making it because because there were tax credits or something for it under the Biden administration that Trump pulled back. But I mean, it's just like, but it doesn't make any sense. Like, it just like it. I understand the labor differences, and I understand the environmental regulations that U.S. companies have to deal with, and that costs money, and it makes things more expensive, 100%, both in the finished product of a vehicle as well as in the process of making it. But how, like, at what point, like, why if you're Ford, like, Ford stopped making cars. They make one car. They only make the Mustang. It's the only car they still make. Everything they make is like at least a crossover SUV or something like that, or bigger. Like, they don't make any cars anymore. There's no Ford Escort. It's done. The only thing they make that's a car is the Mustang. And even the electric Mustang is technically a crossover by design. The only car they make anymore is the Mustang. The only cars Chevy makes anymore are their versions of the Mustang, I'm pretty sure. They make the
Camaro and Corvette.
The Camaro and the Corvette. I don't know that they make any other just normal passenger cars. When's the last time you saw like a Malibu? A new Chevy Malibu?
Did they stop making the Cruze? It was kind of like their smaller passenger.
That got replaced with the Equinox, and the Equinox is their small SUV, I think. Anyway, moral of the story is, that's an irrelevant sidebar on the ridiculousness of U.S. car manufacturing. Why can't we, like, why would you, if you're a U.S. manufacturer or you're a Japanese manufacturer or a Korean manufacturer that is allowed to sell shit into the States, why would you bother trying to make a cheaper, like, nobody makes a cheap car anymore.
Right.
Like, why not? Like, because, like, some of it's standard issues that we have, like, you have to do these for to sell it in the American market, emissions, seatbelts. I think the U.S. has the reverse camera law now. You have to have a reverse camera. You have to have a certain amount of airbag coverage. You know, the crumple.
They've added, like, the back seat, like, passenger notification. I think that's
right. Passenger notification for the back seat. You've got to have the anchors for child safety seats and whatever kind of now. There's a lot of stuff that's in the regs that you have to do for to put a car in the American market. A couple of them aren't cheap. But I don't think the combination of those things is what makes American cars expensive. What makes American cars expensive is they don't need to make cheap cars because the good cheap cars aren't allowed to get sent here and sold.
I think a little bit of it is that kind of that added technology that's generally been added in, and it's just that many more computer chips. The cost of computer chips has gone way up because we can't make them here. We got to buy that shit.
But why does a car need a computer chip at all? They used to not need
so many systems that are computerized now.
But why isn't somebody making a mechanical car again? I mean, like I would buy one. I would buy a fully my truck is as manual gets.
Right.
I mean, it has a computer in it because everything's got a computer in it now, and it might be because it's standard and you have to have it by U.S. laws for emissions and whatnot. But even that, you could get you should be able to build a basic car for fairly cheap. Like the components shouldn't cost that much. I mean, I say that, and it was like $1,300 for me to put a new set of brakes on my car.
Yeah.
Which again, same thing. Like, why are brakes so goddamn expensive? What's so magical about these brake pads that in the last couple of years that they're as expensive as they are to make? Where's that Callahan
pad
character?
Replacement?
Huh?
That just pad replacement?
No, I did all 4 rotors too. 2 of them were bad, and the other 2 were kind of a little groove into them.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I mean, I'm at the point where it's technically time on the standard ops to go ahead and do it.
Right.
And honestly, like the rotors aren't that. The rotors were the cheap part. I think if I did just the 2 front rotors, which is the ones that he said you really need to replace, which I mean, I'm a sucker. I don't know my car well enough. They might have been fine. I'm going to be like, let me see them before you tell me what's good.
Right.
He's like, we could shave. I think this is what he said. It's like we could shave the back ones down and they'll be good for a little while, but the front ones, there's not enough to shave them to get them flat again.
Right.
But anyway, like I think if I had done the 2, it was $1,100. It's only $200 more it was $100 more per rotor basically. And so if you do the math backwards on it, obviously the labor's a percentage of the cost or whatever, but
right.
It's
and
like
the labor's kind of overinflated.
Right.
Like I've seen techs do, and it's actually really easy if you're just getting new rotors too, because it's just basically a bolt and slap that shit back on.
Yeah. So, but I mean, let's look at that. So it's like $200 a tire for brakes, $100 a tire for rotors, totaling about $300 a tire, which would be $1,200 for the thing. That seems like a lot to me.
It is,
but that's normal. Like I don't think I got screwed per se. I could have gone to a cheaper place to get it done and maybe saved $200 or something like that. But even that would have been like, even if it was a couple $100 off that, even if it was $1,000, that sounds like a lot to me. I mean, okay, another version of the inflation issue story. I don't know why we're going down this rabbit hole. My neighbor reached out and asked about some of the work we're getting done, and I was like, "Oh, this is what we're doing." She's like, "You got your plumbing replaced like a couple years back for the sewer, right?" And I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "How much was that?" I was like, "Man, I really don't remember." She's like, "We were looking at doing it, and we had a plumber come out and tell us it was about $20,000." I was like, "I know I didn't pay that much
for putting a new septic system in."
No, we were not allowed. Well, as we learned on the show, we have sewage available, so you're not allowed to replace septic. And I was talking to the plumber that's doing the work for me, and I was like, "You want to quote this for her? Because like that sounds a little high." But then as I was talking to her about it, though, I was like, I want to say we paid like $8,000, $9,000, and it was maybe not quite 10 years ago that we got it done. And so, like, and I don't know, I could probably find the invoice somewhere and deep in my files of stuff because I don't throw away papers. One of the things he's telling me is because this grinder pump situation that we have to have. He said my plumber said it's $6,000 to get that put in.
Grinder pump?
Yeah. So over on the side of the house.
Like a kitchen disposal for?
Basically, all your shit and stuff. Like everything that you flush down the toilet or whatever goes out the back door and into this pump. And it gets broken in the pump. Basically the pump spins, and with centrifugal force it breaks everything up into small enough chunks and then pumps it out the side. And so what we have out here in what KUB installed in the neighborhood is what they call a low pressure septic system. So down under Morel there's a straight up sewer that's gravity fed over there to North Shore where it gets cleaned and treated and kicked out. But all the way down my street is this low pressure sewage system. And so how it works is there's just probably I think he said it was a 6-inch or an 8-inch pipe that just runs down under the street over there. And when you tap into it, your pump on your house is what pumps it down to the end of the street to get it into the gravity fed sewer that runs the rest of the way down.
Right.
And so the way the system's designed to work is that the more houses come online, the less each pump has to work because they're all working together to keep stuff moving down this line. But I was the first in the neighborhood to have it, so my pump is pumping the entire line because it just goes out there and has to get it pushed all the way down.
Right.
And so now, and so there's incentive for me to encourage my neighbors to get on there, because the more they get on there, the less it should cost me a little bit less to get that thing running, to get that thing pumping shiz out. So anyway, so my plumber said, he's like, maybe 15. I'll have to work some numbers and stuff like that, but it's still like 80 to 100% more from like 8 years ago.
Right.
That's costing. And like, again, like on the grinder pump thing, I don't know what I paid for it, but I'm guessing that with the totality of my job, I'd sure that they didn't pay $6,000 for it. Might have paid like $3,000 or $4,000. How does that thing cost $2,000 more today than it did 6-8 years ago?
Supply and demand.
I don't get it. We've talked about it a million times. I don't understand inflation. I've never understood inflation. I've never understood how we can have runaway inflation. I don't understand why stagflation or deflation is a bad thing. I understand a little bit no, I don't. I don't understand why deflation would be a bad thing. It's a difficult thing. I've seen it
explained. I don't fully understand.
It's a hard thing it's a hard thing on a business, because a business, deflation is bad when the assumption of inflation is baked into the system. Because if prices are coming down, then your need as a business, you have to get your volume up to offset your revenue loss. Because the reason, like, one of the things that's oft talked about, especially from like the anti-capitalist left and stuff like that, it's oft talked about. It's like, what is like this incessant need for businesses to grow? Like, why do businesses always like growth is all that matters? That's pretty standard amongst most successful businesses, is they're chasing growth constantly. Mm-hmm. Well, if you're not growing, you're losing, because inflation's baked into the system. And so if your revenue doesn't go up at least as much as current inflation over the same time period, you're losing money. It's just mathematically,
Right.
If you did $1 million last year, or if you do $1 million over a year's time frame, or I'm sorry, if you do $1 million last year and inflation's around 10%, you need to do $1.1 million this year to have the same basic functional income across the board.
Right.
And so if that's your assumption, that you have to beat inflation all the time, if deflation is happening, your ability to do that $1.1 million gets a lot harder, because you have to offset that with volume instead of if your way to get that extra 10%, for the way for your business to grow is to get new customers. Well, if you have to double or triple your customer count to now offset the decrease in prices of your stuff on the shelf, then you run into that. It makes it really hard to get that to hit those marks. But anyway, where did we start on pricing and stuff? Like, cars are too damn expensive.
Yep.
Oh yeah. The big moral of the story that I wanted to get to is American car companies suck. They cannot compete. They can't functionally compete with Chinese. Right now, at least China is the biggest one, but Japanese and some of the Korean car companies too. Truly American car companies cannot compete with them.
Yeah.
And so
we're mad that foreign companies don't want to buy our F-150s
right.
and stuff.
And so American car companies' solution is to tariff or ban imports of products that they can't compete with. And if you're Ford and you can get away with that, why wouldn't you? If you can get the government to be like, well, no, we're not going to let that car that's going to sell instead of yours into the country, so don't worry about it. Why would you make a better car when you can just keep selling crappy ones or overpriced ones? Because the car that everybody would buy instead of yours can't be sold here.
Right.
It's good business if you can get it. Can't hate on them for that. I can hate on the government for accepting that and saying, "No, okay, that makes sense." Because all it's done over the last couple of decades is just lean in and make worse American cars.
Right.
And it's just made the problem worse.
I could see some benefit in the government trying to kind of incentivize and protect American companies, but it sounds like it's gone a little too far.
I don't know if I could see, I could see support systems and investments or tax incentives. I don't mind the idea of we did here in Tennessee with the big Chattanooga plant down for Volkswagen. Like things like the pilot programs that we do here in Knoxville that we talk about all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, whatever random county is like, you don't have to pay property tax for 20 years. And actually, you're going to pay the current property tax for 20 years. Actually, if it's a true pilot program, you're going to pay the full property tax, but a bunch of that's going to go pay off a loan that we gave you to help you build your building or whatever instead of... Anyway, that'd be a TIF. No, that'd be a pilot. It's essentially how pilots work. Is you're going to pay the full tax amount, but only the previous tax amount is going to go into the general fund. The rest of that's going to go pay off to some loan somewhere, whichever the loan is. Usually, in that case, it's probably the county gave a loan to Volkswagen, theoretically, to build their plant.
Yeah.
And so instead of paying us all your taxes, you're just going to pay back what we lent you with what's ever over what you would have paid for this piece of land anyway. Doesn't matter. Anyway, I don't mind that kind of thing. That makes sense. Encourage the placement of that facility, get those jobs going, get the economy working around it. Like, that makes sense to me. But saying, put your car here, put your plant here, and we will also not make it so that we will also make it so that other car companies aren't going to be able to sell cars around you. So not only are we going to help you get the plant up and running, but we're going to force everybody to buy your cars too. Like, the second part of that doesn't make any sense to me. The second part of that is that's just handouts, like, to the nth degree.
Right.
So, anyway, do better, government, I guess, is the moral of the story. Or do better for it. I don't care. Somebody do better. Just be better. This is not going to...
Somebody be better.
This is not a last issue. So, I shared this story with you. The Department of Justice headline, DOJ... Tennessee men charged with conspiring to harbor illegal aliens. I talked about this a little last week. This one that I was saying was live streamed. One of the guys running through the woods was like live streaming or something like that the backroom max guy referenced. That. And so apparently this Tyler Shane Wells, 33, and Alexander Bonilla Servin, 18 years old, are charged with a number of counts. The multi-count indictment was unsealed Friday, charging 2 Tennessee men with conspiracy to harbor illegal aliens for financial gain. One of those men is also charged with felony of impeding ICE agents to the work site. The DOJ says the older man, Shane Wells of Morristown, and the younger man, Bonilla of Smyrna, conspired on January 5th to the January 13th to conceal and harbor illegal aliens for the purpose of commercial advantage and private financial gain. The DOJ also said the two conspired to forcibly impede federal agents while engaged in the performance of official duties. That's the shit that they're doing in Minnesota and shit. I know it drives you crazy. Anyway, the claim from the DOJ says they were trying to prevent by force, through intimidation or threat, ICE agents from discharging their official duties. I hate the word of discharge in that sentence. It sounds like shooting people. There was a construction site in Hardin Valley called The Residence on Sagittarius Lane, if you're familiar with the neighborhood, that these 2 men were in the country illegally. The government alleges that men who were in the country illegally were working there. Not these 2 men, and noted that other men on the job site were illegal. Vanilla is facing the separate charge of forcibly impeding federal agents engaged in performance of official duties by using his 2019 GMC Sierra truck to hit the vehicle occupied by federal agents, according to the DOJ. This is where I got real confused. One, with the timeline, the way they built this story was really rough. But I'll continue. The department said that this is on Channel 10, by the way. Everybody go to WBR.com and you can get the whole story. The department said that according to court documents, the 2 men agreed that Bonilla would drive his truck to a nearby location to conduct, quote, counter surveillance against federal agents watching their site. After conducting this counter surveillance, Bonilla Servin drove his pickup truck back to the construction site's entrance and positioned the truck in an offensive posture in order to maintain an active blockade and display of physical aggression at the construction site's entrance. According to the DOJ. His big, mean truck was looking at him when they pulled up.
He was facing out.
The department said the 2 men agreed, anticipated, and intended that federal agents would be forcibly impeded by the truck. So he parked his truck in the middle of the driveway to the work site, facing out, intentionally to be in their way, which is perfectly possible. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
That could have been the intent. I don't know about, I have a real hard time with the phrasing of aggression. His truck was facing them, so it was aggressive.
Right.
Because I don't know about you, something that I've started doing a lot more now is backing into parking spaces. It's positioning myself to drive straight out of things instead of having to back out and go.
Right.
Maybe it's the old man in me.
That's aggressive.
I know, it's aggressive. Like the poor little lady at Aldi who had to walk by the front of my vehicle where I could clearly fucking see her instead of me trying to back up with my backup camera and maybe not seeing her as well. But whatever. That's my. I'm a ragey toxic male, of course. The department said the two men agreed, anticipated, and intended that federal agents would be forcibly impeded by the truck. According to the department, Wells appeared in court on Friday pleading not guilty to the charges of detention. And that's where this story ends. So I'm a little confused because in the first portion they say that
harboring.
Well, no, that he struck them with the truck. Sevilla is facing separate charges.
I thought it said like he drove into one of the vehicles.
Right. It said he said by force of the president. So he's facing a separate charge in the performance of the official duties by using his 2019 GMC Sierra truck to hit the vehicle occupied. So it says he says he hit him up there, but down here it just says he parked it in an aggressive manner. So I'm very confused on the top. It's just the way they wrote the story is weird here. It's unclear to me what actually happened, or what. It's unclear to me what DOJ is alleging happened,
right? Because
they're pending charges. Now, my greater understanding of it from other places that I've heard things on it is that all the guys working on the site, other than these two, apparently were from Nashville, and there were a number of non-U.S. citizens on the job site. I don't know that that's in dispute.
Is this like an apartment complex or something?
Yeah, apparently it's like an affordable housing thing too. So there's some government contracts and grant money involved.
Okay.
That's more why the Backroom Knox guy's all bent out of shape about it. Because remember, he's the guy doing the forensic audit of Knox County,
right?
Knox County dollars and cents, and so he resents the idea that any government body would award grant money to a company who then used that money to pay legal governments to do work. Which, if it's construction work and there's grant money involved, then yes, it's probably happening.
That's what we talked about last week, and that there's usually like layers of contractors, subcontractors. It's like
7 contractors down, and I don't know. I mean, that may be something that very may well be something that's in this raft of bills that's going on in the State House right now. That's probably the municipality is obliged to seek a sworn affidavit from the general contractor that they will not use illegal immigrants on their work site.
Yeah.
And so basically passing some liability clearly on to the construction teams to not hire. And I mean, we just went on a whole fucking rant and raving about, everything's so goddamn expensive. Well, more Americans working maybe wouldn't make things cheaper, but make things more affordable because people are working. I don't think that's the case realistically. I don't think that there's an issue of a lot of American crafts workers, professional craftsmen of different sorts that are seeking work and not getting it because of illegal labor.
Right.
I think most of it is there's not enough people to do the labor, so you take what you can get. And a bonus, these guys are cheaper.
I'd say even in that, I don't think those savings are passed down to the companies that are using, cheaper migrant labor.
Yeah, that's just the owner of the company making a couple extra bucks.
Right.
Yeah. Which again, that's its own dirt. There's some problems there. Don't get me wrong. I don't think, I think that's a problem. I don't think it's a grant problem. I think it's I think that's a company flouting U.S. law by hiring people who don't have the right to work here. That's its own problem, but that's irrelevant to whether it's a grant project, whether it's a project that includes grant money or a private project.
Right.
That's still some guy that owns a company taking advantage of the fact that these guys don't have a fucking choice but to get paid less. Not because they do better or worse work, but because they can't complain. So they take advantage of that. And those guys are a problem in the system, 100%. But I still think it's probably more likely if you go out and talk to contractors that hire illegal labor, if they're willing to talk about it, it's not that they're cheaper, it's that they're good at the job and they do the work. And they show up.
And like you said, there's a shortage of certain laborers that they're like...
They need guys to do the work.
They got somebody that does drywall, like, fine.
Right. They need guys to do the work. They need guys that show up. And we don't have enough guys to fill all the demand for that labor right now. And so, I don't know, like, I'm fascinated by this story because it's so patchy as a story. Because I don't quite understand they don't really say what Mr. Wells' crime is. He conspired to spy on ICE. And what it says, they're both charged with conspiracy to harbor illegal aliens for financial gain. I agree with that in principle. I think that's legit. I think that the crime committed, I acknowledge is okay to be a crime. They were harboring illegal aliens for financial gain. Yeah. So they're hiring guys that don't have the legal right to work. We're assuming they hired them because they're cheaper, but it's probably just because it's what's available. But either way,
is the harboring preventing ICE agents from getting to them, or didn't know if they were actually like putting them up as well?
Well, again, the story I heard is that they were from Nashville. The crew was from Nashville, but these guys are local. So it may be that they, bought them hotel rooms or whatever while they were here. Yeah. And that's where the harboring part comes in.
So they were facilitating them staying here, basically.
And then the other guy adds the forcibly impeding. I really want to know more. I really want to know the details of that one because the story does not break that down well at all. Did he hit him, or did he park his truck angrily at him?
Block him.
His mean truck. Maybe he had a big set of balls on the back of the truck and didn't want to put maybe he was worried that he would get in trouble for flashing his big steel balls at the cops. And he wanted to put those away from the sight lines. Maybe he was trying to be polite.
Everybody all keeps trying to steal my truck nuts.
Yeah, I know. Everybody, this big old sack on the back, and people keep trying to rip it off. I want my sack close to me. But 18
Maybe he was backed in because he had a trailer to take out too.
I mean, yeah, it's just like there's a lot of questions here, and at this point, I certainly don't trust ICE's version of the story. It killed some dude in Texas. And said, what did they say?
Is that the one they said they tried to commit suicide, but the examiners...
Yeah, he was definitely strangled.
Well, no, he had hemorrhaging of his eyes and stuff from him basically being choked or whatever.
Yeah, the autopsy said asphyxiation due to weight or pressure on the chest and neck.
Yeah. I think a part of that story was apparently he was trying to off himself, and they were trying to stop him from killing himself.
Right. But that was the second version of the story. I can't remember what the first version of the story was.
Yeah.
It was a medical emergency. It was something with his meds, and he was having some sort of withdrawal or something. It was like the first version was it was a medical thing, and then the second version of it was that he was trying to kill himself, and we accidentally killed him while stopping him from killing himself.
I want to say that I think I saw some number of 30-something deaths they've had of people in ICE custody in 2025.
Right, but they're not American citizens, so who cares?
That's some people's sentiment, yeah.
Well, we're pretty sure they're not American citizens because at this point their track record of making sure that part's right isn't very good fucking either. So
that's true.
That's where that's to me where I get upset, and maybe that's
we only held them for 5 hours and we took them back home.
Right. So was that Chicago? There was a story about that one. Did you see that one?
And there's been a few of them.
Picked up some kid in a Target. Went in the Target,
video of that.
Grabbed him, drug him out of the Target, threw him in their van,
dropped him off at a Walmart,
a few miles away, with nothing because they, in their time driving around, they figured out that he was a citizen or he had right to be here.
Right.
And they just drop him off.
There was one guy. I think
that's got to be a fucking lawsuit. How are we not suing the shit out of these guys? It may not be criminal. It is criminal to me. It's kidnapping. I don't care if you have a badge.
Kind of civil lawsuit.
It's fucking kidnapping.
Fourth and Fifth Amendment. I guess they didn't really search him, but they seized him illegal detention.
Like, I mean, it's kidnapping. Like, kidnapping is clearly a crime. Like, actually, I take that back. It is a criminal. It should be a criminal case. They're kidnapping people.
There was that one guy who was, like, he was an American citizen, but like took him out of his house. He seemed like out in the snow.
Right.
He was in like his boxer shorts and they had a blanket over his back. And that was another person. They took him back a few hours later.
I mean, it's just ugly. I don't like it. You want to predict the snow for us tomorrow or today, since everybody's I'm just trying to get. I'm trying to bring us back off.
Probably more.
I'm trying to bring us
ice.
back local. I'm sorry.
Probably more ice than anything.
I think here's the bet. Are we going to have school on Monday or not?
I think they'll call it off.
I think they will too. Well, text.
I think the temperatures are.
Text Dillingham.
He's not going to know yet. They're not going to make the call till Sunday, till some of this stuff.
Tell him.
happens.
Tell him not to answer, knowing that it's going on. Say, hey, are we canceling school on Monday?
I got a bet on call sheet.
Don't tell me. Don't tell me the answer if you don't want it on the podcast.
Right.
Or make sure you say off the record before you reply, because this is going on the podcast. That's funny. That call sheet one's funny. Have you finally figured it out? Like, have you seen some stuff on it now?
Yeah, I've seen a couple.
Because I pitched it at you a couple weeks ago, and you hadn't really heard about it yet.
Right.
The Sunday morning, the CBS Sunday morning news show, their story on it was my favorite. Because it's with the CEO and founders. Like, it's not gambling. It's market trading. And it's like, it's fucking gambling. Like, what are we talking about here? Right. And I don't mind gambling.
But be honest about it. Don't call it gambling.
Let's be real about what's going on here. And, like, the problem, like, I mean, one was, like, I think we talked about it last week, that it's
just educated guessing with money involved.
The only other major growth in the U.S. economy right now is gambling.
Yeah. So
it's data centers and gambling. Like, let's see how those line up as the future does its thing. When AI starts, when people are going on AI to make their picks for them. And then how soon? I mean,
would that mean less collusion with like leagues and stuff and players? I wonder if that would cut back on that when you've got just AI that's trying to make these guesses.
Depends how you incentivize the AI. The AI can start doing the collusion for you.
True. Like, hey, will you send text to this person, personal trainer, blah, blah, blah.
Like, hey,
like, hey, it'd be really cool if you diagnosed a hamstring pull.
I'll give you $10,000 if you don't do this thing. As the AI has no morality, they don't care.
That's true.
They're not. I wouldn't see like. I mean, my favorite AI story of AI getting off the leash is the CAPTCHA story. Apparently, there's a
AI that gets around CAPTCHA.
Right. There's a service for people with visually impaired people. There's a service where you can go to this service and screen share, and they'll help you through a CAPTCHA. And the AI was trying to get through a CAPTCHA for whatever reason, and it knew the service existed, and it posed as a person with a visual impairment, and got the service to get him through the CAPTCHA. Like, that's like, I didn't know that thing existed.
Genius.
I mean, it's pretty smart, I think. You know, kids figure out how to get by, like, you know, age restrictions on websites all the time and stuff like that. It's the same, right. Like, you know, the ingenuity is like, that's the scary part about AI, is that it was like, oh, this thing's telling me I'm not allowed in here. Let's see if I can figure out how to get around it. Not, oh, I'm not supposed to be here. I stop.
I saw some funny story of a guy that started some kind of small, I don't know, like an investment business or some kind of computerized business. But then he basically like set up like 2 or 3 AIs to like be his like employees to kind of do stuff. But he actually like set it up to like, and it was like them like having a conversation with them in like the morning, like asking an AI like, oh, well, how was your weekend? And it actually like kind of given these generalized responses like, oh, I didn't do much. I woke up and worked out, blah, blah, blah.
Cool.
But it was him just kind of having these weird, like, surreal conversations of his AI employees.
What I find really interesting in some of the different AI stuff, as far as like just the complete willingness for people to just jump on the bandwagon is like advertising for AI. Goggins, who's one of my favorite actors. I love that guy. He's a fantastic actor. Mm-hmm. Walton Goggins.
Yeah.
He's doing a series of ads for it's GoDaddy, but it's GoDaddy's AI add-ons for your website. So it's literally like GoDaddy's thing is always like, we'll help you build a website because it's complicated and hard. It used to be, at least. And now it's super easy, and you can just do all this stuff. And now this AI, I can't remember what it's called, but they're Ava. Anyway, their AI suite that's an add-on to it will like do a bunch of social work for you and get on your social media accounts, and you can link all this stuff together, and it'll go do posts for you, and it'll make your business look like a real business. And in the ad, he's talking about how like you may think to start a business online you need to have a bunch of employees. Not with this one. I mean, it's literally saying the quiet part out loud that you don't have to hire people that know what the fuck they're doing. AI will do it for you. But one of the big complaints one of the big concern complaints in AI has been AI replacing writers and actors. Like we had a strike. There was a writer strike last year.
Yeah.
And a bunch of the actors and actresses refused to work because the strike was going on and all that stuff, in solidarity because some of the big production houses were using AI to write scripts or write adjustments to scripts or write
voiceovers, stuff like that.
Right. And then we're getting into the voiceovers and the actual like deep fake versions of stuff where like Morgan Freeman's had a couple lawsuits where he's been suing companies for using his voice for advertising and stuff like that when it's not actually him.
Right.
And it doesn't state clearly that it's not him, and this is AI emulating him and all that kind of stuff. And so it's like, I find it because like Matthew McConaughey is another one. He does a bunch of ads for Salesforce AI. Now, the Walton Goggins and the Matthew McConaughey are not AIs that are directed in replacing them in their profession.
Yet.
Well, what I mean, the plan for the AIs that they're working for are out there advertising, and they're advertising for them to replace employees, knowing that one of the functions that AI can do, even though it's not in the companies that they're doing their work for, is also replacing employees in their industry. And it's like, you guys are that much like that. You need money that much. Like you want it's been a shift in the last couple of decades anyway with ad stuff. Like it used to be like A-list actors did not do regular advertising.
Right.
Like at best they'd do those weird Chanel perfume commercials and stuff like that. And that was about it. Like this really weird whatever. But like you never saw like I don't know if like Tom Cruise. Have you ever seen Tom Cruise in a regular ad?
Not to my knowledge.
Like
I was looking at my parents. I've seen commercials for it. It's some kind of like online like gaming app. But I've seen like some A-list actors.
Yeah.
There was Ted Danson.
Yeah.
And I've seen a couple like big name people that are like, oh, I played this game. And I'm like,
Candy Crush Saga 64 or
something
whatever.
like that, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, like some of these ads, like, like the Ryan Reynolds on the Mint Mobile one, that makes sense. Because he actually owns the company.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think he's part of it.
Shaq doing Papa John's commercials because he owns like a ton of franchises in Papa John's.
Yeah.
But Shaq does ads for everything. Icy Hot.
The general.
Yeah.
He gets free insurance.
the one that like really broke my heart was Ice-T. Ice-T doing one of those car warranty ads, like one of the grossest companies, like that, like second to like check into cash places.
Yeah.
Are these car warranty scams? Oh well, you might have to replace your transmission, and that can cost tens of thousands of dollars. Pay $100 a month, and whenever that does happen, we'll take care of it for you. When the reality is, they'll give you a busted ass replacement that they don't install quite correctly, but they did what they promised they would do.
And they covered part of it,
right? But fucking like that one broke my heart when Ice-T did that. It's like, man, cop killer, fuck the police. Well, that wasn't him actually. That was NWA. Sorry.
Should be getting some of his residuals from Law and Order SVU.
Well, he's still on new episodes. He's still playing that cop. Yeah. But like Body Count motherfucker, Body Count guy is doing like real whore out ads. Like that hurt my soul. Like that is the
I think they put out an album in the past couple of years.
Body Count did a new album?
I think so.
Hell yeah. I remember
like looking them up, just like listening to some songs, and I was like, oh, I think they actually did some stuff recently.
I was the one album from back in the 90s or early 2000s, it was 90s. That one album is so bad. Like, I loved it, and I had it, and it was, I rocked my face off to it. But it is really, like, this whole album of parodies. Like, they are very bad. Like, one of them is Stairway to Heaven. Like, it's a very, like, the guitar riff is like 92% Stairway to Heaven, and then it's like a remix of Stairway to Heaven with him rapping about killing cops and whatever over the top of it. Body counts in the house. Body counts. That's amazing. I love that album. Don't get me wrong, but it's not a quality musical masterpiece by any stretch.
Right.
But anyway, that hurt it hurt my feelings as he's doing that. But like, it's like, but again, on the specific I'm talking about, it's just, it seems doubly weird to me that like it's become normal in the culture of A-list actors to do ads for fucking everything, but then to do one that you and your community are actively fighting against, concerns over what this could do to your industry, seems redonkulous to me.
Counterproductive
At best. So, trying to think what else went on. Mama Haslam died this week.
Did see that. I didn't realize she had involvement in like the UT School of Music.
Oh yeah, she was always a big benefactor of it. But when they built the new building, they put a bunch of money in it. So it's the Miss Haslam School Music building now. And I think that it's the arts building because it includes art and architecture. The new building is one big combination. Well, the old art and architecture building is still there. I don't know. But they were big into the arts. And, you know, they spent money on fun things. Some of it good. But she did partake in her husband buying the Browns, which was a poor life choice. Can't not call him out for that. I'm trying to think if I missed anything else. The bitch about the groans, bitched about the new bills and the city council grant thing. That wasn't that important. The fusion energy thing. Yeah, that was my top list of stuff. Trying to think if anything else happened. I did speak with my last candidate. My last candidate's campaign manager. A little bit of back and forth today on where they asked a few questions about some details on it. It's like, just fucking come. What are we talking about here? Just be there. I expect you to be there, and I'm going to make a big stink if you're not. So just get her there. Ooh, I almost gave away the game there. I almost gave away the game there, but we have two ladies running for mayor, so when I say her, it doesn't tell you which one. I've been trying to be vague about it. I'm pretty sure everybody knows what I'm talking about anyway, but I'm going to stay vague about it until, well, I don't know, a couple more weeks at least, and then I'm going to start calling it out by name. Because I want to announce it. I want to do my event posting. I'm meeting with the venue next week to talk through the details of the timing and what we need. Some of the logistics crap. But I don't know. At the end of the day, the old excuses do not apply here, so you have no excuse not to come. So you should be here.
Be there, be a square.
Yeah. I did mention it to Chris Davis when I was talking to him. He's like, yeah, that's the day before early voting starts, which I didn't realize that. Huh. Didn't do that on purpose.
Right.
I jokingly replied to him, it's like, it's the day before tax day, and that's why I picked it, which is not true. I just picked it because it made sense to me. But it is the day before tax day, which is probably not smart for me because I'm going to try to be putting together the final pieces and parts of this event while I'm trying to get the final pieces and parts of my taxes taken care of.
Right.
Although I did a good job last year. I was done with my tax stuff in February.
Nice.
We actually did our payments a little bit, like I staggered our payments out so that we didn't have the total of both me and Max's payments due. Mm-hmm. Instead of paying them all on the same day and having a big $40,000 withdrawal, I had a 10 here and a 10 there, or whatever the math came out to. But I spread it out over a couple of weeks, so we had my portion and then his portion, but on different times. Not that it technically makes a difference, but it made the bank account look less sad for a couple of days.
Right.
And that's what matters. And so hopefully I can do that again because I got that going on. I do want to get, there's no reason this shouldn't happen. And this is happening. But there's no reason that everybody shouldn't be there. Like, I've got all the things. I've got one person I've got to talk to, because I don't want to lock myself on the board. I'm going to get somebody to come work the sound system for me and the sound and the streams, because we're going to stream it onto our YouTube channel. Mm-hmm. So we live stream on our YouTube channel, and then we'll maybe we may take some chunks out and use it on our show later, or I'll give access to, speaking of Shaq doing commercials, if the Compass guys want to pull chunks, I'll give them permission to pull chunks. So, well, I mean, I guess technically it's newsworthy anyway, so any of the news organizations want to pull chunks, they can pull it off our stream, as long as they reference where they got it. That's all I care.
Yeah.
And then maybe come back a couple weeks later and start doing interviews with them, the one-on-one interviews with them before the end of the primary, because that's it. I mean, as of right now, at least, the Republican primary for mayor is the election for mayor, because there are no other people running as of right now.
Right.
So everybody in Knox County in May should pull the Republican primary. Because as of right now, if you pull anything but the Republican primary, I don't think you're going to vote for it. I don't think you have a primary. I don't think any of the other seats actually have a primary. I don't know of any seats in the county local that have 2 Democrats running. So everybody should be pulling the Republican primary, because if you want to vote for your next mayor of Knox County, that's the only way you're going to do it. And there's depending on what district you live in, there's a couple others that actually have a primary. But for right now, there's not many that have a primary anyway. Sheriff, that's the other one, which still, you should pull your Republican primary so you can vote for sheriff. Because even if as of right now, there is no other candidates on it. And if we do get a Democrat to one, it will be one. The local Democrats are going to have a hard time finding a candidate, period.
For sheriff.
Certainly not plural candidates.
Right.
But there is that one little itch in the back which could throw my whole debate thing off, is if I do accidentally talk myself into running for mayor, because I still have time. If my paperwork can get filled out.
You could have had it in hand.
Just throwing it out there. I could have, but my good friend and co-host said he was going to take care of it for me. So
I don't think I ever admitted.
So I was trusting that he would do so.
You asked me if I'd be your treasurer. I don't think I ever fully admitted or agreed that I was going to go down.
You said no to treasurer. I said, you guys got to do my paperwork for me, and you said okay. I think actually you said okay.
Maybe I didn't know what I was signing up for.
All right, let's get weird.
Rhode Island may ditch Mr. Potato Head license plates after Hasbro moves to Boston.
Agreed. I would.
I didn't even realize there was a Mr. Potato Head license plate. That's something I would think if I got on like the Secretary of State's website to look at possible license plates, that Mr. Potato Head was one of them. Usually but sports and different organizations.
If Hasbro headquarters were in your state, I think you might know that.
Let's see here. It's been no small potatoes that Rhode Islanders have been able to choose the image of Mr. Potato Head as a specialty license plate for decades. So.
I think it's messed up that Tennessee does other schools outside of Tennessee for specialty license plate.
You think it's weird they do?
I think it's super weird that you can get an University of Alabama charity plate, I guess is what they are.
Yeah, it usually goes to some kind of like charity organization.
Right. It's usually to a fundraiser. Booster. It's some booster. Right. It's something that goes to what I understand why you'd have like Tennessee or MTSU or Chattanooga. Like you can get a UT Chat plate, and that goes to the general scholarship fund, or it goes to some fund that helps the school or whatever. The extra money you pay goes to that. Our friend has the wildlife management specialty plate, so he spends his extra that he spends when he gets his plate goes into TWRA and whatever. Mm-hmm. The dolly plate is one of my favorite ones out there. Yeah. The weird one are these new black plates.
I've seen them. I don't know what they are.
I don't know.
There were some coal ones I remember seeing back in the day.
Yeah, Friends of Coal,
something like that.
Yeah. But there's these black ones, and there's the black plate itself is one thing, and they have a series of them now that have different logos on them, and there is one that has a skull and crossbones on it, and it's the Tennessee. It's like the Tennessee Multiple Sclerosis Society or something. It's a really weird charity that it goes to. That I don't quite understand why those two things go together. Because
give us money, or there's going to be more people that die.
I saw one. I was like, man, maybe me and Max should get one of those since we own the Pirate Bar. Like, it would be a cool license plate to have on our cars since we own the Pirate Bar. It's like sort of marketing for our own company, but then like like I said, it just goes not a weird charity, just it's a weird association. Like, it doesn't make sense. Like the Dolly one makes sense because everybody knows about Dolly's Imagination Library. Yeah, you know,
but she turned 60, I think, was last week.
Try again, buddy.
80.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
She is well ripened, if you will. But yeah, so like I could imagine. I'm trying to think, you know, like Nissan wouldn't make any sense. I'm trying to think of like a major company, like a toy company, especially makes perfect sense. And I'm sure it's probably like Hasbro's, like, you know, Toys for Kids charity that they operate.
Probably.
You know, it is where the funding goes. Where the funding goes or whatever. But like, if we had a major, I'm sure we have some in the States that we just don't know about. Like, I mean, last time I went to DMV, they have a whole fucking wall.
Right.
And that's only like half the plates that are available.
There's a good number of charities. Like you said, a bunch of the sports plates.
Like fraternities, you can get them for fraternities and sororities.
That's right, yeah.
I mean, it's just a process. Like, it's a like, I could do a Happy Holler one if I want. Now that I have exciting news. We got our 501c6 status today.
Nice.
That's super nice because when I talked to them a week ago, and maybe it's literally I made a phone call, and they went and found it and got it done because I made a phone call, and I didn't ask them to it. But literally they told me that they were still working on April of 25 when I called them a few weeks ago.
Wow.
So I don't think. I feel like I jumped ahead in line or something like that. I do have some stuff.
Oh, you asked about it? Okay, sure.
Yeah, I got some stuff I got to figure out. So, but anyway, but that's we've got that in place, and so now that we have that in place, I could probably register and go through the process of getting a Happy Holler plate.
It's very possible.
You know,
do you have to prove that there would be enough demand to make it worth it?
I don't know. Because I mean, I think they print those on demand anyway.
No, you can pick them up right then and there.
I don't think so.
When I got mine.
Which one did you get?
Appalachian Trail.
I mean, I think some of them they do have available, but I think like if you're getting the Tri-Delta sorority,
right, you may have to order that one.
They're going to order it for you and they'll ship it to you. I mean, or when you renew it, you get the renewed version of it.
Or you got to go to the old courthouse downtown to pick it up.
Yeah, but I don't think they have every single plate option available.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think there's a handful that have it. Most of the clerk's offices.
Right, because they're popular and they're cool ones. Because the AP one's a pretty cool one.
Right.
I would probably say that the T-Berry one's probably available in a lot of local ones. The wildlife one's probably available. Fish and Game.
There's like one with a fish, one with a buck on it.
Yeah. I'd say those are
Friends of the Smokies.
Right. I'd say the Dolly one's probably available in-house in most places. You don't have to wait for that one. But yeah. I mean, probably some of the UT ones. I mean, it's kind of sad though too. It's like the Lady Vols, and we have the 1998 National Championships version one. Mm-hmm. That's a plate, and then we have the Lady Vols National Championship basketball, and it's like a multi one though. It's like that. Was that 10-year span where we won like 6?
The Lady Vols.
Yeah. Well, that's on that plate, but like they're all in the 90s. So anyway, yeah. I'm curious. I'm gonna have to go to the Secretary of State's website and see what the full list of available random plates are. Actually, I guess it's Tennessee Department of Homeland Security now.
I thought it was just Secretary of State.
I mean, the clerks are under the Secretary of State's office, but I think the license plate and driver's license plates and those things are under the new Department of Homeland Security for the state of Tennessee. All right, let's get one more weird. Thank you, Hasbro. Mr. Potato Head. So I suppose the question is, do you think Maryland's going to make a Mr. Potato Head plate now?
They're moving to Massachusetts.
Oh, I thought you said they're moving to Baltimore.
Boston. Oh, I said Boston.
Yeah.
That's possible.
Speaking of Boston, movie for everybody, if you haven't seen it yet, The Rip on Netflix with Ben Affleck and Matt Damon. It's a pretty fun movie. We watched it the other night.
I've seen ads for it.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. It's pretty good. It's like an inverse. It's like a reverse heist movie, if that makes sense. It'll make sense if you watch the movie. Check it out. almostagreement@gmail.com. Tell me how you liked it. Also, Netflix, you can write me a check for pushing your movies anytime you want. almostagreement@gmail.com. I can send you an invoice.
Let's see here. We got singing contest in Rio prison provides creative outlet for women behind bars.
Singing contest?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought you said seeing, and I was like, seeing what?
Singing.
Cool. So,
behind
like,
bars applied makeup, donned gowns, and competed in a singing contest held on Friday in a Rio prison. During an event designed to spotlight talents and boost confidence ahead of the detainees' release.
oh, on their way out, so it's only eligible to about to bounces.
It doesn't say there's like prerequisites. I guess it's preparing them for.
No, it's just, like that part. Like, if you got 20 more years, you're not really getting prepared for release, are you? I don't know. Like, I don't know what to say.
I
with
mean,
that.
most other countries, I think there's countries in Europe that even like murder convictions get like 15 years.
Was it, this is Rio, Brazil? Is that what you
Yeah.
said?
Brazil. Rio de Janeiro.
I don't know if I could handle the Portuguese. I mean, I'm sure they're hot ladies because they're Brazilian, but the Portuguese I'd struggle with.
Yeah, I don't say anything about any kind of prerequisites of like, hey, you got to be getting out in the next blah, blah, blah.
I mean, what else are you going to do? Killing time. It's good to have a good time. I'm sure it's some,
As long as you can keep it safe, have fun.
I doubt it's something they spend a lot of money on. I wonder if they got their ASCAP license for it, though. I don't know if that'd apply. I don't know how that work. Anyway, I don't know. That'd be interesting. So, you got one more in there? You keep digging around?
No, I was trying to see if it talked about like
You're looking
only people, eligible or
No.
if you're getting out in a certain period of time. I don't think I said anything.
Oh, it's just the
about
way the first couple sentences, the first paragraph there, you said, as a way to help them prepare for release or get ready for assimilating back. When I don't remember exactly what you said, but it implied that
boost confidence ahead of the detainees' release.
yeah, seems like that would be. It's implied at least in that. So
Maybe you're not eligible if you're in there for life.
yeah,
You got to be getting out at some point, and they're trying
maybe,
to.
I mean, it could be one of those like you don't have a lot of incidents of bad behavior or whatever, and it's a bonus whether you're getting out tomorrow or in 5 years. But if you're, you ain't
Give you something else to focus on.
You're not starting fights or whatever. And that's what they do to the kids in school. Like you're not eligible to go on the field trip if you've been in suspension or whatever. Or like the dances, like that's one at the middle school. Like you can't go to the winter social dance if you've had a certain list of behavior or grade issues in the last couple months or whatever. So,
I don't think I ever went to any of my middle school dances.
I think I went to one middle school dance. Definitely went to prom once in high school. But that was about it. I don't think I went to many other ones. Went to a bunch of graduations, but that's because we had to in band for playing.
Right.
But all right, man. Last call. You got anything else? Is there anything we missed? I feel like as much as I said, it's a little bit shorter of an episode, but we still made a good.
Can't think of anything crazy. I mean, there's always crazy shit that happens.
Locally, there's.
Locally.
I mean, like I said, like this election is. This election is going to piss me off, not necessarily because of the results or anything, but it's just
Frustrating.
It's just because I like we're gonna have. I mean, I'll have to go back and look at the previous, but I'm gonna guess Mayor Jacobs. I think Mayor Jacobs won his re-election against Debbie Helsley with like 25,000. I think it's like 25
Total
to
voting?
20. No, I think it's like maybe 50 total. I think the combined total was a little over 50, or right at 50. But then I'm sure the one before that was probably more because it was an open seat. His incumbent seat was going to bring numbers down. That makes sense. But his incumbent one was that crazy one that had like 6 judges. We had a huge ballot that year. Do you remember?
Is that the one where they ask us to vote on?
No, that was the one where we
questions
had because there's a bunch of judges races. We had a bunch of judges races line up all together because it's one that like there are a bunch of 8-year seats, and so we only get them every 8 years. But then we had like 3 didn't finish terms as well, And so we had like a full set of school, like we had the full set we had right now, plus a bunch of judges, plus a couple other ones. Like it was the biggest ballot we had in like 20 years, I think is what Chris said when I was talking to him about it.
Yeah.
Which theoretically should push numbers up, but I'm still saying like it's going to be, if we hit 20% of eligible voters in Knox County, that'll be good for Knox County. Well, yeah, none of that phrase made any sense. That would be a good turnout for a Knox County vote.
Right.
I don't think it will be good for Knox County or anybody but whoever wins those races, because who knows? I mean, it could very well be not dissimilar to the city elections in that even though it's only 15-20% of the population that bothers to vote, it's more or less representative. Could be accurate. There's some statistical, I can't remember what it's called, but there's a statistical thing that you can do there where it's like, if you go through and you break it down, you could have 90% turnout and have the same results.
Yeah.
And so the question is whether or not the electorate is the people that bother voting are a good span of the population. Or
sample size.
Yeah. So, all right, that's the show. Thanks, everybody. Bye. Okay, guys, that was the show. A little bit short, not too short, not crazy, but we did a show. We checked in on some things. We learned about how not to park your vehicle to scare ice. So, well, maybe we learned how to park your vehicle to scare ice, not necessarily how not to. So, if you're ever encountering ice, don't park your vehicle facing at them. I guess it does make sense with what we know about ice and stuff right now is that the front end of vehicles scare them. So, anyway, Almost Agreement, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, go to the website, almostagreement.com. Check out what we got going on there. April 14th, mark your calendars. Come down to the holler. We're going to have a debate. We're going to have mayoral candidates there. I'm going to try my best to get them all there, but we'll have to see who's willing, because I can't make them. You could reach out and say, I won't vote for you if you don't go to Seth's debate. That would help. Anyway, Almost Agreement, everybody. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.